All right, we should be good to go over here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. We're going to talk about what we need to be doing right now. As you know, whatever you thought 2020 was going to be like, it's going to be different. We are actually in very uncharted territory right now, and it's changing day to day. There's been some good news out of China. It looks like Apple stores are open. They're back online. There's some cool stuff going on over there. But we're still in uncharted territories here. I think that may help us get a timeline on moving forward. So, yeah. And so we're going to talk about how to survive this thing and then how to thrive and how to set us up for that. So let's jump right in. So the first concept, we've got 11 concepts here, 11 steps. The first step is the point of power. And some of y'all may have seen this before. But we all know people that live in blame, excuse, and denial. They blame somebody else for everything that's going on. They make excuses. They're in some cases, they deny that there's even a problem. Now, I think with this challenge, most people do not deny there is a problem. I guarantee you there are some people who don't believe it. They think it's a hoax, but that's okay. They're in the minority. There are some people that deny it. Now, we move to excuses. We start making excuses, and then we begin to blame something else for our challenges. But let's flip it around. So we call this yellow point the point of power. Above it is ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And Stephen Covey talks about the areas of interest, which are things that we are aware of and we know about, but we really can't control. And then he talks about the area of influence, which are the areas that we can control. So we can control three things. We can control the way we think and our attitudes. We can control the way we act and the way we react. Okay. So the first step in our process of coming out of this thing is we have got to move out away from the excuses, and we have got to move up into the responsibility. So some of y'all know I was trained as an engineer. We know that responsibility is the ability to respond. So that's the first step. We have a situation. It is in our area of interest, but it is not in our area of control. How are we going to respond to this virus situation and the impact that it's having on our thing? It's all about how we want to respond. We're going to be accountable to ourselves, to our team, to our thing. We're going to do the right thing through this thing. And then we're going to, we've got to take ownership of our own situation. Obviously, in the bottom, nothing's going to change. We're just going to have a bunch of reasons, which is the fancy word for excuses of why we didn't do well. I actually think this could be some of our finest moments. Usually a good crisis brings out the best in people. And then, of course, above here, we're going to be powerful, where we're going to get results. So step one, move from excuses to responsibility, to responding positively to whatever the situation is that you have going on to be proactive in this thing. Step two, as a business owner, as a leader, as a business person, we have to be positive. Now, that doesn't mean we have to be unrealistic. I was having a chat with a client yesterday. We have to lead this thing, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be realistic. We shouldn't be blunt with our team. We shouldn't tell them what's going on. So this is, the John F. Kennedy quoted, this is a quote that says, hey, there's two ways to look at anything. You can look at the danger but you can also recognize the opportunity. And I think we need to do that in this. So the first step is to be positive and remain calm. I think the more we get into this, the easier that'll be, right? There's a lot of anxiety around what's going on. I've noticed in younger folks, they're more anxious generations coming along behind me. They seem to be more nervous about everything. Look, you've got to be a leader. That means you've got to be positive. You've got to be upfront with them, and you've got to be communicating with them directly. This is the number one thing that we're seeing, is that team members are nervous. They don't understand. If people are uncomfortable, they need to go home. You're going to have to let them. My guess is they're going to let us give us some unemployment things. I just heard today that there's three kinds of unemployment right now. There's standby unemployment, which means that you've been laid off, but you're in contact with your with your the employer and the employee are in contact with each other, and they're planning on going back when all this is over, which is kind of cool. That's a cool thing. Then there's partial unemployment, which means you can work part-time and get some unemployment, and then there's the regular unemployment. But they're gonna make which is very good. I think that's a good thing. But you've got to get out in front. You've got to be the positive leader. You've got to be out leading your people through this thing. Hey, when good things happen, let's look for them. Let's find those small wins. We've got to understand the question: what business are we in, and what's the new business that we're in, or what can we be in? How can we shift the business? You know, for example, I work with a bakery. You know, they're in the same business of making bread, but we're not doing any. I mean, we have a fair amount of restaurant business. We're not doing any restaurant bread right now. They're not open. Okay. But we are doing a ton of grocery bread. So we had to shift our focus. You know, some people, let's say you're in the massage business. Well, they're not going to allow people to come into your place, but you may be able to become, you'll be able to remove. I mean, people may be needing a massage now. You've taken all the precautions and you can go out. They're willing to have you in to do it. Look, sometimes, I mean, I think we need to pay attention to the news, understand what's helpful, but understand what's just hype. Let's filter the news in a positive way. And hey, everybody needs a 90-day plan right now. We need a 90-day emergency plan for your business. So if you don't have one, you can use this as a template, or I'm going to talk to you about what we've got going on next Wednesday that's going to make available. It'll be an option for you if you'd like to join us as a way to do it. Step 3, we have got to communicate. I mean, this is the key. We've got to be in communication up and down all our supply lines, up and down with our customers, up and down with everybody. This is the deal with our team. Remember I said, you have got to be clear with your team. You've got to be realistic. You don't sugarcoat it. Be positive, but don't sugarcoat it. Tell them the truth. Tell them what's going on. And it's okay. Hey, if you're a little scared too, it's okay to tell them, hey, look, we're going to get through this. We've been through other things, but you know, here's the situation. You know, I don't know either. It's okay to say, hey, I don't know either, because this is uncharted waters. We have never been in a situation like this. We have similar situations, you know, Y2K, 2008, 1987. There's probably been some before there may have been some, you know, epidemics and things that were before we had all the cool communications and stuff we have now. Communicate with your customers. Be in contact with them. Be proactive. Let them know how you're doing. Let them know what you're doing to take care of their safety. Be in communication with your networks. Be in communicate with your suppliers. There are going to be some supply interruptions. We need to be talking to them about how we're going to handle those interruptions. Okay, so let's be in contact with our suppliers regularly to work through these things together. They want to help you. They want to stay in business too, with your community, obviously. I believe as business owners, we need to be leaders in our communities. We need to be showing people how to work through this. We need to be sharing with each other. We're creating some groups of business owners that can talk to each other regularly. I know it's helpful for me to, in the morning, first thing I get together with a group of coaches on the phone and we talk about what we've learned and what we're doing and what we're moving forward. It really is helpful in this time to get started. All right, now step 4, understand the cycles. Okay, look, it works like this every time: summer, then fall or autumn or whatever you call it, winter, and then 100% of the time after winter comes spring. So we may be in by the way, I'm here to talk about the economics of this. I'm not a medical expert. The medical, it looks like to me from a medical standpoint of view, this thing is about if China's any indication, it's a 2 to 3 month cycle. Hope, you know, I say plan for the worst, hope for the best. The economic situation may last a little bit longer. But 100% of the time, winter follows spring. And that's in economics too. If we're in an economic winter, then guess what? We're going to have an economic spring coming up. Hopefully it's going to be a quick winter and we'll get back to spring pretty fast. Most cycles, business cycles, last 70 years. Most of y'all know that since 2008, that's what You know, 2009, 2010, now we're 2020, about 10 years. It's a pretty normal cycle. So there's always something that happens to drop us into a winner along the way. All right, step 5, you got to change. You cannot stay where you are. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be creating the change. You've got to be adaptable. I think this is a big one. We're going to try some things that won't work, or maybe they won't let us do it, but we're going to have to adapt. Okay. And so we'll try something, tweak it, try something till we find something that works. Test and measure. Make it better along the way. All right, this is the formula for change. Dissatisfaction, that's the D, times vision, times your vision, plus your first steps, that's your F, have got to be greater than the resistance to change. Here's the cool thing right now. People are up for stuff. They're very dissatisfied. Actually, their vision is kind of high because they want to change something. So people are option that. Like, we're getting into places now. I mean, for example, for me, I have people that wouldn't give me the time of day 3 weeks ago that now want to talk about what's going on because they're dissatisfied. Their vision, their resistance to change was very high before, but now they've got a bigger. They know they need a bigger vision. Now here's the key: the first steps. That's your 90-day plan. So for most of you, your dissatisfaction and your vision are pretty high. Your resistance is actually pretty low right now, and we're up for trying a few things, but we need the first steps. That's your 90-day plan. All right. We may have to change products. We may have to change services. We may have to change pricing. We may have to change delivery, and we may have to change staffing. Like, for example, restaurants that can't be open now, maybe some of the people that worked in the restaurant now are delivery drivers. Those are the kind of changes that we have to make, but we've got to make them, and we've got to do it. We've got to do it swiftly. Okay. Here's the deal. This is going to make us better. Adversity makes us better. And so, for example, one of the things that's making me better is I'm just getting better at communication. I'm also getting better at technology. You may even have to break your whole business model and break it. It's a great time, actually, particularly if you're slower, if you're one of the industries that's slower. Look, break down your whole business model and figure out how to build a better one. It's like, what's the newest model of your business? Finance. All right, let's get into this. Look, cash is king right now. You need access to cash. So we need to be forecasting what our situation is, probably daily, certainly weekly. That's the longest time frame I could imagine, because you need to be looking out over the next 90 days, 120 days, 180 days, forecasting your cash. But we've got to update it weekly, okay, so that we know what we're looking like. Are there areas that you can reduce outlays? Maybe some that's wasted. Hey, look, your suppliers want to do business with you. They're going to allow you some terms. They're going to allow you some deals. Continue to renegotiate them now. Are there things that you were planning on investing that you can slow down or postpone? Do that. Maybe that's appropriate in your business. Start some initiatives like getting your clients to, give them a deal to pay you in advance, customers, whatever it takes, to help your cash flow. Access to cash, like a bank, usually won't lend you until you prove you don't need it. Cash is king. We already said that. I can't stress enough. One of my friends was in contact with the president of a bank, and they're saying, get with your banker now and find out and get some access to some cash if you can. Extend your credit line, maybe get some extra credit cards, whatever it takes to have access to cash. Now, you may never need it. I hope you don't, but get access anyway, okay, just in case. If this thing goes longer than I think, then we may need some credit lines. Hey, do this personally as well. It may be time to refinance. I mean, their interest rates are pretty low. I was talking to a mortgage person yesterday. They're not as low as we might think for mortgages yet. The fact that the Fed is lowered, it hasn't trickled through yet necessarily to what's going on in the mortgage market. It's up and down. So you may want to be in contact if you want to refinance, with your mortgage banker to figure out what would be the best way to go. Find some lower rates and do it fast. Number 8, staffing changes or staffing situations. All right. Look, you know, there's, maybe you can offer vacations, maybe you can offer part-time, maybe they can do a partial, you know, or temporary layoff, you know, whatever it takes. If you got sick people, send them home. You know, if people are uncomfortable, send them, let them work from home if you can. If they got to be out there, if they, you know, if it's a field work and they're uncomfortable, you know, maybe they need to be furloughed, maybe. But you've got to be, we've also got to be sensitive this time to what's going on. Once again, I think the longer this goes, the easier this is going to get. My deal is, if you have to do layoffs, like for example, I mean, if you get shut down, you know, I think we have to lay off people, or we can't pay them. We have to give them away. The government's going to make the unemployment stuff really easy, or by attrition. That's the best way. But the best way to do layoffs is one time. So do it by surgery rather than trying to, you know, nurse it along. Just go ahead and make the cut. Sometimes you just have to. We've had a number of companies that have said, hey, we don't want to quit working. We know it's going to be tough. If you remember I said you got to be open with your team. If it's getting hard to pay them, but you don't really want to lay anybody off, you can go to the team and say, hey, look, you know, what I need is, you know, we've had clients vote for temporary pay cuts. We don't want anybody to get laid off. We like our team, but we'll all take a pay cut. So that, we've had that happen recently. Next in command. What if, I mean, one of the elephants in the room is what happens if someone gets sick in our company? What do we do? You know, one builder of mine said, hey, look, we'll just have to shut down. It'll be like a rainy day. I mean, a rainy month, rainy 2 weeks. Because, you know, if you go into isolation for 14 days, then you can come back out. But so the next in command is, but let's just say somebody gets sick or hurt. Normally what happens is the person above them ends up filling in. What we want to do is create a next in command where, so that it's a clear organization chart. It's a clear, if someone falls on the, you know, someone gets hurt, then we've got the next person to step up and take their place. So what's your next in command strategy? Now, when I say next in command, they may not be able to do the job 100%, but let's say they can muddle through. They've been trained for a week, and then after a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer for some jobs, they can pretty well do the job. You know, so there'll be some, if we can get some pre-training, then maybe some training on the job for a couple of weeks, then they can probably handle the job. So we've got to have a training plan as well as a next in command strategy. We can't just, you know, battlefield promote them and say, all right, go. But, you know, that's likely what's going to happen. But if we're ready for it, then we've sort of inoculated ourselves from our business from this disaster. All right, number 9, remote work and technology. I think most of you knew this, but here's the thing. There's a lot of cool new technology out there that we can learn and use. Like one of the things, I'm pretty good at one technology, but when I start trying to marry 2 technologies together to make them, you know, get the data from one to the other, then I'll lose it. I'm learning some cool stuff right now. What is some cool technology? Like I said, this is going to make us stronger. You know, when can we, you know, how are we going to be able to apply this when this is over? By the way, this will be over. Spring always follows winter. So what are your policies for remote working? How are you going to do meetings? One of my clients is an engineer. I mean, he's having regular Zoom meetings. He's taking care of Zoom just like we're using here. Reporting. How are you reporting? How are they going to report, and what are their metrics? Because we've got to have some way for them to report in, and we've got to have a way to measure what's going on, because we've got to make sure. Now, right now, I think most people are probably working, but if they, in the future, if they're working from home or working from remote, we've got to make sure that there's some accountability there. Customer service. How are you going to handle your customer service with technology? How are you going to add the, you know, how are you going to handle it with people? Who's going to, you know, can you forward the phones, or do they take the phone home? How does it work? You know, we've got to have a plan for that. How are you going to do your banking? Can you do it online? Like we have one situation where we need to actually take a check to the bank. Well, the banks are still open. They're got to go through the drive-through, but we'll do it. How are you going to pick up, you know, how are you going to get the mail? Communication. How are you going to communicate with each other? This is the key. We've got to learn to communicate better via Zoom. And it could be weeks or it could be months. We don't know how long this is going to last. Either way, I think technologically this is going to make us better. All right, let's talk about step 10, which is online or deliveries. All right, CVS Pharmacy, most people are doing delivery now. If you're in a business that works this way, can you add delivery, or can you just go to 100% delivery if you need to? You know, or online, you know, is there a way to ship? You know, obviously Amazon's really benefiting from this. They've kind of broke them. I mean, they're looking to hire a bunch of people. You know, what kind of job changes are you going to have to make? Are you going to need different kinds of people if you're pretty much online or delivery? You know, let's face it. I mean, I live in a community. I get this email from a group of people that are pretty much holed up in their house, and you know, they're not going out much. So maybe you'll have to go to them, and you have to. You know, I'm getting a lot of questions about people canceling jobs and, you know, things on, you know, from remodeling or painting or those kind of things. Well, at the end of the day, we want to do what we can to avoid, you know, postpone it rather than cancel it. We want to give them an incentive. Maybe you give them, if they have a deposit, maybe you give the, you know, give them, make their deposit worth a little bit more. There's ways that we can go to help our people out there. We've got to let them know when we come to them that, hey, we'll be respectful. We'll keep the 6 foot. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to spray ourselves down with whatever disinfectants we need to make sure that they understand we're doing everything we can to protect them, because that's what they're scared of, right? So packaging and accounts, we've got to get our accounts set up. How do we package things if we're in a business that ships things? You know, how are we taking care of that? How are we communicating? Are we letting them know? Right now is the time to over communicate with everybody, over communicate with the team, over communicate with your customers, over communicate. Now, what I will say is, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but pick up the phone. Everybody's getting too many emails right now. You know, my apologies. I know I've sent a bunch of emails to you, and we're going to keep doing with emails. I think people are getting through them, but pick up the phone and call your clients, call your past clients, call your prospects, call your suppliers, call your people in your network. Just call people. Just be in touch. Right now, people are starving for human interaction. All right. Step 11. Market and sell like crazy. All right, this is the time to do more marketing and more selling. We have to keep marketing in business, no matter what. We have to keep going. I said it, get on the phones, talk to people, start prospecting. I will give you an example. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I could call 10 of my clients or friends. I would probably get email 70 out of 10, 70% of the time. We've been calling, Beverly and I have been calling like crazy, all kinds of people, and I bet we're talking to 8 out of 10 right now, because they want to talk. They want to figure out what's going on. Even people that we know. So get on the phones, do some prospecting. It is not time. We don't want to have a lull in your business when we get over this thing. Increase, do not decrease your marketing. Do more of it. Hey, it might be a good time to cut a deal with your marketing people. All right, if you use an agency or whatever, it's probably a great time to go to them and say, hey, we want to do a long-term deal, but right now we need some help, okay? Or something along those lines. Hey, you may have to create a new, unique selling knock. What makes you different? It may need to be different now. It's been a bit of a pivot for us. I mean, we want to be a resource. We're a resource in the community. Markets, maybe you need to get in, maybe there's a market you wanted to get into, you need to get, or maybe you're being forced into a different market. What's your offer? Those may need to change, okay? They need to be created new. You know, so target is your market, offer, and then what you say about it is next, okay? And then maybe you have to cut, maybe you have to make some deals, maybe you have to work some things out to help people through this thing. Guarantee you they'll thank you later. All right. So do whatever it is you need to do to market and sell whatever it is you sell. All right. Measure your 5 ways. All right. I'll probably do I will do another webinar on this late next week where we'll get into this. We'll get back into what we need to be doing now. But let me tell you what the 5 ways are for those of you who are not familiar. Some are. The 5 ways are: you got a number of leads that you get or come into your business, okay? But you're not going to convert all those leads to customers or patients or clients or whatever you call them. You're only going to convert a certain percentage. So the first 5 way is the number of leads. You multiply that times your conversion rate. That's the second 5 way. You'll get your number of clients when you do that. Now, every client there's going to be an average dollar or an average ticket or an average invoice that you have. So every customer will have that. Now, I know you may sell a dollar item and $100,000 item, but there'll be an average when you take a number of your invoices and put them together. So you multiply that times your repeat business. Like, how many times would they come back in a given year? So maybe that, for a home builder, that might be once, but for a store or it could be every day. So when you multiply the number of clients times your average dollar sale times your number of transactions per year, you will get your revenues. And then when you get your revenues, you get to keep some of it, which is a profit. That's your 5th way. So you've got leads, conversion rate, you've got average dollar sale, you've got repeat business or number of transactions that a client will have in a given year generally, and then you've got your profit margins. So you need to be measuring those, and you need to measure your 5 ways regularly and staying on top of it. You need to be seeing what's going on. Are we losing leads? Are we getting more leads right now? Are we, some of my businesses are way up, some of my businesses are way down. It just depends on what it is, okay? Measure your conversion rate. Is it easier or is it harder right now? Measure your average dollar sales. Is it going up, going down? Measure your number of transactions. Are people buying more or are they buying less? Okay? And if you can, get the cash, up front, get deposits. There are tons of people out there that, particularly in the B2B world, the businesses that do have money, and they are willing to invest in some things right now because they are the ones with the cash. So, be okay with asking for cash up front. Step 12, repeat business, one of the 5 ways. Look, every time you talk to one of your customers is a moment of truth. All right, we need to get them back. Our existing customers are our best customers. Everyone knows that. We've got to continue to stay in touch with these people. We've got to work with them. We've got to continue to communicate with them. And right now is the time to over communicate. Get on the phone. I think I've said that 100 times. Get on the phone and continue to get on the phone after this thing is over, by the way. These are things we should be doing anyway. Talk to your customers, find out what's going on with them, be human, be sympathetic, talk to them. Heck, if they having challenges, look, we're doing free, economic virus sessions, for people now. Just, get them in some touch with us. We'll have, if they're having challenges with their business, we're happy to have a chat with them as well. And it's really just I had talked to a guy this morning already. He's like, man, people are canceling. What do I do? Well, we talked through it. We came up with some ideas. All right. That's what we're doing with people right now. Create deals just for your customers. Make them a deal now. Make them, show them that they're special. Say, hey, look, here's what we're doing for you guys. Offer them bulk buys, see if they've got some cash and want to do a deal. Hey, we got a situation here. If you can pay now for the whole year, we'll give you this deal. Make sure you're doing that. But we want to work as hard as we can to keep our customers. Okay. So your number one priority is to contact with your customers. Your next priority is your former customers or your inactive customers. Your third priority is going to be prospects, and then you're going to add in suppliers and that sort of thing as you need to. Remember that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. So make sure that top 20% is taken care of. Once again, this is all stuff we should be doing anyway. The truth is we're not so good at it. This is an opportunity for us to be better. So let's keep it up. All right, I know I promised 11 steps and I'm on step 13, so you're getting 2 bonuses. Step 13, common sense and compassion. Look, over deliver on customer service. Help them out. Do what it takes right now so that they will thank you when this is over. Okay, if you're not getting somebody saying thank you every once in a while, you're probably, right now, you're probably not doing it right. Okay, make sure you over deliver on customer service. Look, be clean. Don't touch them. Don't shake hands. You know, we're doing air high five. Some people are doing the Vulcan thing from Star Trek, live long and prosper. You know, provide sanitizer, cleaners, solvents, whatever it takes to, you know, if you can find any, do it. You know, look, put the people first. I said be positive, be realistic, but be human too. You know, be sensitive to people's needs. It's very important that we stay human here. Look, be nice, remain calm, be the leader. Business, I can't stress this enough. Business owners, business people need to lead our way out of this thing. There's a whole bunch of people running around that aren't calm, that are panicking. We need to plan. That's what we need to be. A good plan will make us calm. You know, hey, look, let's be sensitive. We don't need to all, I mean, you know, people are out of, went in the grocery store the other day completely out of any paper products. I mean, this thing, how long are you going to need toilet paper for? It doesn't make any sense. People are buying freezers. A client of mine went into a freezer break, went in to buy a freezer, no freezers. I mean, look, buy only what you really need. Okay. There's going to be people stocking up for, you're going to have, you know, 12 month supplies of stuff that I can't imagine that we're just going to last that long. All right. So look, get with me. Let's make a 90-day plan for you. I want you to write down 5 ideas right now that you need to take action on today. All right. And then I'm going to take some questions right now. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what we got going on next Wednesday, if you would like to take advantage of that. So I'm gonna jump back on here, get onto the chat here. If you want to type your questions into the chat, that would be awesome, and we'll answer what we can. I know you've got questions, so let's answer them. You got to chat them in there for us to be able to answer them. Can you guys hear me? Somebody type in and say, hey, yeah, you can hear me. Yep, good. Okay, got it. All right, so I know you can hear me. What are your questions? Come on, there's got to be a question or two. Well, I'll go over a couple I had the other day. Look, one of the people said, you know, it's hard to stay positive, you know, when the team is panicking. What I'm going to say to that is, look, do whatever it is you have to do in the morning. Do a ritual, talk to some other business owners, call me, whatever it takes to be positive and to take this thing to the next level. So look, whatever you're doing, to, you know, whatever you got to do to remain positive. You know, you're going to have to put on as a leader, you're going to have to lead. Here's a question: does this have an impact on real estate, or is now a time to be proactive? Look, this is going to impact everything somehow, some way. It's in some ways good, some ways bad. My thinking on real estate is that not a lot of people are looking to buy right now. If you have some cash and you're looking to invest or you're looking to buy, it might be a great time. Interest rates are still low. They're going to stay low. You know, that's an individual question for an individual situation. My situation would be that I would say to shop a bit right now if you're an investor in real estate. We'll see. I know the mortgage people are going to be cramming with they're busy. They're staying busy right now as well. Interesting time. Probably, you know, it's probably a good time to be a contrarian. You know, buy when no one's buying. Ordinarily, this would be a good time. I've talked to the Realtors Association. They believe, you know, I believe it could be the, you know, really slow spring, maybe the slowest since back in 2009. So, yeah, that's sort of my advice on that. Any other questions? All right. Well, let me go over what we got going on. You may have some people that you want to pass this along to. I've recorded this webinar a couple of times, so it's out there. It's available on recording. You know, follow up. Look, here's what I'm doing. So I get my clients together every quarter anyway to 90-day plan. It was supposed to be next Wednesday, so it's going to be next Wednesday anyway. We're just going to do it virtual. We're going to do, well, it's actually going to be 4.5, so 8:30 to 1. We're going to do a virtual 90-day. We're going to do it on Zoom. I've talked to a few people. They think that's worth about $5.95. I'm going to offer a 90-minute session with me. We figure that's worth about $7.50. We're going to do a recording and a transcript of the whole training, which is, we think, is about $200. I'm starting a mastermind Facebook group, which is going to have a membership fee. It's going to be about $348 for the year. So we're going to throw that in, which comes up to about $1888. So that's an $1888 value. Look, we're offering it for $295. If that's of interest to you, just understand it's about $2,000 worth of value. We just feel like it's the right thing to do. My clients that are one-to-one obviously get to come free. We're gonna do an emergency business planning session, and we're gonna come out of there with what we're gonna do over the next 90 days individually for each business. I found that the power of getting a group together works best for this because we can use other people's ideas. So if that's of interest to you, I will, let me stop the share here. I will put it in the chat, or you can just hit me up, email me or whatever. Let me put this in there. I'll put the web address where people can register for that. And yeah, we'd love to have you. It's $2,000 worth for, you know, less than $300. It's $295. So yeah, it's a good value if it's right for you. If you can do the plan on yourself by using these, you know, using this webinar, then awesome. We'd great. And or if you look, we're a resource. If you want to call us, call us. Look, here's my numbers: 828-348-1787. That's the office. But I'm going to give you my personal cell: 540-290-2389. Feel free to call me. I'm going to put it in the chat now. If you just want to chat, whatever it takes, that's my personal cell number. Feel free to give me a call. Well, we'd love to chat. We'd love to help. We're here. like I say, we're doing free sessions for anybody who wants them. We just want to be a resource during this time because, as I said, and this is what I believe, and this is what I'm telling my clients, 100% of them, and one of them's in the travel business. They're shut down for the next couple of months. They're not shut down marketing. They're not shut down selling, but they're shut down as far as taking a trip, producing anything. All right. How does it work? Spring always follows winter, always. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for being on the call. And if I can be of a resource for anybody, any constituents, anybody in your groups, we'd love to have a chat. It's good having you on here. If you think of a question later, call me. Call me on my cell. I'll talk to you soon. All the best. Until then, hit me up. See ya.